We go.
Hey everybody, this is Nate Peterson along with Rizky Abraham, Dwayne Richens, and Landon Hymas presenting our Megadesk Razor Pages application. We'll just start off by talking about my portion of it, which was taking care of the design and the layout. First of all, I basically did kind of a card layout for the main portion of the screen where it's kind of a light gray background with a drop shadow behind it, give it a little contrast for everything on top. Two Google fonts were used, Montserrat and Arvo. Arvo was used for the headings, for all headings H1 through H6, and Montserrat was used for the body text for everything else. We'll just go around and show what the views look like. We add a new desk quote. We have everything laid out here in a vertical fashion. And if we go back, we can look at previous desk quotes and you can see how the contrast is with the table here, and it stands out really well. And we have a horizontal layout for the search Megadesk quotes form right here. And let's see, we can look at the edit form as well. Pretty much the same as the add new quote details. We can get into that in a little bit when we talk about that. And then the delete page also is kind of laid out similar to the details page. So that's pretty much the look and feel, and the design. We'll move on next to the functionality, and we'll look to Rizky and Dwayne to talk about that.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do the add new desk quote.
Okay.
And then, so we have a minimum of 3 letters here. So we can go ahead and just do that. And then if we want to clear it out and then go down to the bottom and just try to save the quote without any information, we get an error on all the fields. And so that's what the validation was set up for. So we can go ahead and put in some filler information there.
Let's see.
And we got the material showing beneath there. We can go ahead and add the quote. And so, yeah, so now it shows up in there. Everything seems to be working for the validation and the error message we get. And so I think the only thing after that is going in and editing the different pages. If Rizky wants to talk about that.
Yeah, so edit is basically almost the same as the create page. I would try to edit here. And then the validation should work here too. So we put 100, for example, 150 maybe. There you go.
Oops.
And it should work. And then we're gonna try to change the material here just to make sure it works to oak, and also the shipping to maybe 7 days. And then we're gonna try to save it, and it should update it right there. Oak, 7 days, and the quote, the total cost too. So the only difference, if we look into the edit dot, our visual code in edit.cs html.cs, the only difference between create and edit is the on get asynced, where we basically switching from oak, the material oak, rosewood, laminate, and then get the material index. That's the only difference between create and edit. Now we're gonna try to do add new code, and we're gonna explain a little bit about that.
So adding a new quote is pretty similar to what we did in some of the practice exercises. The backend code is pretty similar. I believe it works pretty close to the same way that the edit pages do. And the layout, we just only have the relevant input fields here. For example, there's no input field for area. There's no input field for the oversized cost or anything like that, because those are all auto calculated. So we only put things in here that had to do with had to do with actually adding a new quote, things that could be controlled by the user. That way you avoid errors of, putting in an area that's actually larger or smaller than the depth or width or anything like that. And then we changed the layout on the delete and details pages. I used a little bit of repetition here. I kept going with Nate's original card layout that reminded me of a piece of paper. So in my line of work, I deal a lot with paper quotes and things like that when we're doing purchasing through school districts. So I kind of ran with that idea, trying to make it look like a piece of paper so that the user knew they were dealing with, this is an official quote, something that they might actually see in their hand. And I kept the delete page and the edit page the same. If we'll go look at the edit page real quick, or sorry, not edit page, the details page. That's my bad. The details page.
Not delete.
Detail. So I kept them the same so that when the user is viewing the details, obviously they're maybe want to check something, and when they go to delete, they'll know that they're deleting a quote. Like it's the same thing. So I use the principle of repetition there so that they know they're dealing with the same entity. They're not deleting, say, just customer information, or they're not deleting a desktop material that might be available. They know they're deleting a quote, because I kind of pictured it working in a larger company where there might be multiple users using the system, so they know exactly what they're deleting there. And I kind of sorted it into sections, used a little bit bigger headers to show the customer information, the desktop material, so that the user could kind of see an itemized list of where their costs are coming in. And if they're working with a salesman, or if this is an online app where the user is building something, they can see where they can save money, or if they have a little more room in their budget, they can see, oh, maybe we can add a couple more drawers, maybe we can change a better material. And it gives the user a lot of control there to be able to know where they can increase and decrease. But that was pretty much the guiding principle behind the layout of the delete and details pages.
Cool. So, yeah, and one other thing to mention about Design Night, I decided to just go with the CDN distribution for Bootstrap and jQuery instead of relying on anything local. Just seemed to work easier. There were some discrepancies between some of the stuff that I did for the previous Scripture Journal application and this one. I don't know why my application created differently, but anyway, it just made it easier to just rely on CDN for Bootstrap and jQuery rather than relying on the local files for us. So it just made it easy for everybody. But I think that's it.
I think we do need to look at the sorting and the filtering.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Quotes.
Functionality.
So date, sort by date, ascending, descending, works, name, sorting. We can search by name. We'll search Joe. And 2 Joes show up. So everything seems to work.
Alrighty. Well, we hope it meets all the requirements.
Yeah. Thanks.